Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. So today I'm going to be doing something I don't think I've ever done on this channel before, surprisingly, and that is a knife review. And the reason why is because I found a knife that, in my opinion, works so well for me that it's nearly perfect, and I want to share it with you. So let's take a look at it. All right, so full disclosure here, if I wanted to get this knife sent to me for free for review, there's a good chance I could do that. When I say free, I want to put big quotation marks around that, because for all of you kids out there who are trying to be a gear reviewer, you should know that nothing in life is free. If a company sends you something for review, they're going to want a review, and they're going to want it in a timely fashion, and they're probably going to be pestering you to say certain things, to embellish certain points, to limit your constructive feedback that you have on it, which is why my policy has always been, I don't typically, there's maybe been a few rare occasions where a company will offer me a certain item that they want me to review, and then I will do an honest, unbiased review of that particular item. But very seldom I do that. What usually happens is that I will see something that I think is good, and then I'll solicit the company to send me one of those things for review. And in turn, I get to share what I believe to be a reliable product, which is going to be useful to people, and they get some exposure. Fair deal. I dropped money on this because it was just so perfect. And I got to grab my other Kershaw here, because this was my old EDC knife. And running an online retail business, CanadianPreparedness.com, I'm using this knife probably, in some cases, 50 times a day, where I'm actually pulling it out and putting it back in my pocket and using it. So it's not one of those things that you put it away and you forget about it. This is going to be on my person all the time. Now, this Kershaw, I got it when Wholesale Sports was closing its doors. I believe I got it for a discounted price of like 35 bucks. It may have actually been Cabela's, but I think it retails for around 60 bucks. And I should say first off that I am not a knife guy. I don't know the terminology. I don't know much about the types of steel, about the different types of grind, about the handles, anything like that. So this is not going to be one of those spec reviews by a knife expert. I'll post a link to, I think one is The Last Boy Scout, and you can tell he knows what he's talking about when it comes to the specs of knives. I'm not even going to try to replicate that at all. What I want to try to communicate is my intuitive understanding of why this knife works for me. Now, this Kershaw is great, but it's very heavy. This would be a knife which, if it was the apocalypse and I had to leave and I could choose a folding knife, I would still probably choose this one over this Benchmade, because it's just heavier duty. It's built a little bit more sturdy. It doesn't have a polymer handle like this one, but it's just a little too heavy for everyday carry. So anyways, I go to the knife store. I asked the woman who's working behind the counter, well, what kind of knife do you carry? So she pulls out this Benchmade knife, and it was in blue. And as much as I'm starting to have a greater appreciation for high visibility stuff, still wasn't too satisfied with the blue. So then she shows me the Ranger Green. And I think from the time I seen this knife, I was sold. I looked at many different knives, and I tell you, this is probably this is one of those purchases that you make and you just know you made the right choice, even though it was very expensive. This is the most I've ever spent on a knife, 180 Canadian dollars. That's going to be the equivalent of about 130 bucks American. But it's one of those purchases where you have absolutely no regrets, where you leave the store feeling as though you made the right choice. And man, is it a beautiful knife. It's so lightweight, yet just everything about it, the blade, just the type of grind it is. Like I say, I don't know knife terminology, okay? I hate knife reviews. I simply can't stand them. I'd rather watch the grass grow. But I can tell you the feeling, the emotion, right? I know it's not an argument, but the emotion I get holding this knife and using it is perfection. This is EDC perfection. It's super lightweight, super durable, and it's just everything I could want in an EDC knife. It's perfect, man. This is something that's gonna be with me for a long time, and it matches my pants. Go figure. That wasn't planned, by the way. I just happen to like earth tones. But I am so happy with this purchase. You know, it's easy to open one-handed. You can actually close it with one hand, which I like, which you can't do with this one. You can't close it with one hand. So with this one, open it. If I want to close it, I just go like that. I don't know if that's good for the blade, for it to, when I close it like that, it swings down and it bumps into this, one of these, what would you call it, rivets. This is a rarity for me. Not only do I never do knife reviews, but it's been a long time since I purchased something where I felt as good about the purchase as I have with this knife. It's just a beautiful knife. Apparently there's a lifetime warranty on this. Nice sturdy clip on there. I'm sorry that I don't have the technical jargon for you guys. All I know is that this knife works well for me. It's also coincidentally called the Bugout, the Benchmade Bugout, which a lot of reviewers have criticized that because I agree it's not an ideal bug out knife. But in terms of a great all-around on-person carry knife that you're never gonna know you have because it's so lightweight, I believe it's 1.8 ounces or something like that. They could have probably saved that name for a more appropriate knife for that particular purpose, for bugging out where you want something that's more durable and which can perform a larger variety of tasks. Even just the idea of a folder as a bug out knife doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'd be mostly thinking about a fixed blade at that point, but you know, I suppose there's lots of sturdy folders out there right now. Like this Kershaw, man, like this knife is so sturdy. I don't think I would ever, you know, be worried about breaking something like that. Now obviously you're not doing like batoning and lots of heavy duty stuff around the campsite. I wouldn't want to be carving with something like this. Just the ergonomics is not there. But you know, for limited use, for quick use, pulling it out, cutting something, putting it back in your pocket, that sort of thing, it is absolutely perfect. So if you're a person who accesses your EDC knife several dozen times a day, then this is something you might want to consider. I like this knife so much that I may actually contact the company and see if I can sell this on my website, because it's a beautiful knife and it's something I can get behind. Everything on CanadianPreparedness.com are things that I myself would use or rely on in the field. That's the difference between my website and Amazon, or even a lot of, you know, outdoor websites who will just sell you anything, you know, just to make a buck. Everything I sell on that site is something that I stand behind in terms of the quality. And if it fails on me in a miserable way, I am going to either stop dealing in it or, you know, make sure I contact the company and give them the opportunity to make some changes to the product. But I'm not going to sell crap on my website. So, but for the time being, if you want to get one of these and you want to support the channel, go check out the link through the Amazon description. I'll post links to both the Canadian and the American site. This is one of those purchases that you're just not ever going to regret. I just know it. It's perfect. Thanks for watching. Canadian Prepper out.